Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Increases in proven, probable and possible oil reserves in Trinidad and Tobago. This story takes the lead in our 915th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 7th August 2020. Details after this important message.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. Minister of Energy and Energy Industries Franklin Kahn announced the results of a 2018 independent audit by the Netherlands Seawell and Associates into the crude oil reserves for 2018 for Trinidad and Tobago, which showed all-round increases since the last audit in 2012, coming as good news for TNT in the exploration and production industry. TV6's Nicholas Lutchman Singh has more.
According to the NSAI audit, there were increases in proven reserves by 10.3%, probable reserves of 16.6%, possible reserves 8.5%, contingent resources 17.2%, and prospective resources an increase of 773.4%.
I am proud to announce that NSAI, our independent consultants out of Dallas, Texas, best estimate of our unrisked prospective resources is now a mammoth 3.2 billion barrels. This is an increase of 773% over the unrisked prospective reserves as of January 1, 2012, which at that point in time was only 368 million barrels.
The Energy Minister said this notable resource estimate came from 90% deep water blocks, adding that over the 6-year period between 2012 and 2018, there has been an excess of 200 million barrels without having new explorations.
Over that 6-year period, this country produced 192 million barrels of oil. So if at 2018, end of 2018, our reserve replacement ratio is 107.2%. It means we have found and put into the proven category in excess of 200 million barrels of oil. And that is the significant thing. And bearing in mind, significant exploration, no development activity took place onshore nor the west coast of Trinidad and Tobago.
With respect to the future of exploration, the minister said there is great promise with several explorations and developments being done in several areas, both offshore and onshore, in the Ottawa Block, the Rio Claro Block, the St. Mary's Block, and the potential for more discoveries in the southwestern peninsula.
On the southwest peninsula, in the Cedros-Icacos area, have discovered oil in the Middle Cruise sands in a well called the Saffron Well, and they see high potential there for further discoveries down in the Cedros area.
Mr. Khan said deepwater bidding will resume in 2021, addressing critics on not having a bid round done sooner, explaining that the data set gathered in 2020 will have only been of use after BHP completed their explorations in deepwater this year.
When these results are now tabulated and put into the data set for the 2021 bid round, you will attract more investors. So you don't just have a bid round for bid round's sake, or to just keep announcing bid round. These things are driven by technology, by strategy, and those of us, including myself, who understand the exploration business.
He expects the Brent crude oil price will go upwards of $45 per barrel within the next few months as the world economy stabilizes. Nicholas Lutchman Singh, TV6 News.
The OWTU's president in Trinidad and Tobago isn't backing down from a racist comment he made relating to media editors there. More in the CNC3 news item.
Roger used the derogatory term when journalists asked him about calls for government to recommence negotiations on the sale of Petrotrin Refinery's assets. When asked about his language today, Roger did not apologize for using the slur and instead stood firm.
But that's a statement I made and I stand by that. Okay? That's what I'm to stand by that. I stand by that. In the fullness of time, I will be vindicated and you will see what I'm talking about.
Roger has since been slammed for the comment, and the Media Association of TNT is also considering taking action against him. Roger is also accusing the Prime Minister of using the sale of the refinery for political mileage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Roger is accusing Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley of being deceptive about the sale of Petrotrin Refinery to win votes. Kamal Georges of CNC3 News has more.
Answer Roger labeled the government's failure to sign off on the final acquisition documents as an election ruse. Only last month, the Prime Minister said that within days, the first phase of the asset purchase agreement would be concluded. Roger said government only raised new issues after the union was able to satisfy a 10-point requirement and secure the bid to acquire the assets. So he's accusing Dr. Rowley of hoodwinking the population to win the general election.
Just maybe that is their plan at the end of the day, to go carry us through all of those hoops and hurdles and then say, well, you know, they can't do it, so we now go give it to X, some foreign entity or some of their friends.
On Tuesday, Energy Minister Franklin Khan said government will not be bullied into signing the deal before elections as negotiations were still ongoing, but he saw nothing that would prevent the government from signing the deal with the OWTU.
Over in Georgetown, the remaining members of the President, Dr. Irfan Ali's new results-oriented cabinet was sworn into office on Wednesday, and he promised his administration would be transparent in dealing with the affairs of Guyana. I expect that this time will be results-oriented, will work in an efficient and transparent manner. The multifaceted nature of the skills set that comprise the team is what I believe Guyana requires in ensuring we fulfill the aspirations of all people of this country, he said after officiating at the swearing-in ceremony. Ali reminded the new ministers that their jobs would require sacrifices because this job is not an 8-to-4 job. But I'm sure we are all committed to this task in giving our bit in the interest of our country and for the betterment of the Guyanese people. Ali 40, who himself was sworn into office last Sunday, hours after Guyana Elections Commission GCOM named him the winner of the March 2nd presidential poll, said he has realigned functions of the government to remove duplicity, to make it easier to conduct business with government, to reduce bureaucracy, to improve efficiency, and to ensure that we operate in a cost-effective, productive, and results-oriented manner. Ali had earlier named former President Bharat Jagdeo, the Vice President, Prime Minister Mark Phillips, Gail Teixeira as the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, and Anil Nandal as the Attorney General. Among those named to the cabinet on Wednesday are Robeson Ben, the Minister of Public Security, who had served as the Minister of Public Works in a former People's Progressive Party Civic PPPC administration, Pauline Sukai, who is the Minister of Amerindian Affairs, a portfolio she held in the last PPPC administration, and Priya Manikchand, who returns as Minister of Education. Ali said that the team also provides newness, youthful energy, experience, freshness, and of course, skill set that are of immediate importance as we tackle important issues of constitutional reform, electoral reform, and other aspects of governance, including reform of the security sector, managing of natural resources, and reaching out to every segment of the Guyanese population. Over in Washington, the Trump administration will maintain support for opposition leader Juan Guaido as Venezuela's legitimate president and expect dozens of other countries to continue recognizing him following December 6th legislative elections that opposition parties plan to boycott, a United States envoy said on Tuesday. Elliot Abrams, the U.S. Special Representative on Venezuela, made the commitment to Guaido 2 days after 27 opposition parties announced they would not participate in the elections, saying they would be rigged by President Nicolas Maduro's ruling Socialist Party. The ballots still could pave the way toward a loss of opposition control of Venezuela's National Assembly, which could complicate Guaido's standing based on his position as the Speaker of the Congress. Testifying before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Abrams insisted that the United States will not recognize this fraudulent election and said it was in discussion with the roughly 60 countries that have backed Guaido and that they would stick with them. They withdrew recognition from Maduro after his 2018 re-election, which they regarded as a sham, but Maduro has remained in power backed by the OPEC nations' military as well as Russia, China, Cuba and Iran. U.S. officials say privately that Maduro's continued rule, despite U.S. sanctions, has been a source of frustration for President Donald Trump. In an interview with Axios in June, Trump played down his decision in January 2019 to recognize Guaido. Trump's aides, however, see his tough approach on Venezuela as appealing to the large Cuban-American community in Florida, a key swing state, as he seeks re-election in November.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.